Matters such as licensing and permitting, of course, but also inputs on land allocation and management, energy and water supplies, front and back interconnectivity, and synergies. For that, we brought together Mr. Afonso Salema, CEO of the CINCH Transatlantic Renewable and Technology Campus, Mr. Alberto Passos, Telecom Business Director at IP Telecom, Mr. Enrico Banfi, Alcatel Submarine Networks Vice President for EME and APAC, Mr. Norman Albee, CEO of Medusa Submarine Cable System, Mr. Oliver Label, General Manager of CAP-DC, and Mr. Philippe Dumont, CEO of Link. You've got the floors.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Gonçalo Eiras, and I have a pleasure to moderate this CINCH CLS and Data Center Ecosystem panel. This morning we had a very interesting conference with a clear message from the public regulation and licensing public entities opened and welcome new cables and data centers in CINCH. And I would like to start with our first telecommunication cable landing in CINCH. Filipe, I would like to start with you. What are the distinct features of Link and how does it serve for the EU strategy?
So first of all, allow me to say hello to everybody around and wish everybody a happy New Year 2022, the year when we will finally exit COVID. That's a wish, guys, okay? Don't take it as a, yeah, exactly, Alfonso. Anyway, so the question is around what are the distinct features of Link, and I guess the question is around why we did we build this cable, really? Well, the network, I mean, I'm talking about the core network, the thing that connects data centers and major cities around the world is largely US-centric, and there is a good reason for that. As you know well, a lot of content providers and services are today developed and originated from the US, and if you look at the overall grid, it kind of connects the US with the rest of the world. What happens with some of the continents in the South Hemisphere, usually they connect to the US before connecting to the rest of the world, and this is valid for Latin and South America. Today, South America is connected to the US. That does make sense, but it is not connected directly to Europe, even though the Latin America, South America does make business with Europe, and that represents more or less 15% of the total business that they have with the rest of the world. So that's quite important. But in terms of data, at least until the arrival of Link, it was close to exactly zero. Okay, none of the traffic would go directly to Europe. It would have to go to the US and then go to Europe, which obviously does not bring a lot of efficiency, provides a lot of risk in terms of network. Okay, you have to go through 16,000 kilometers of cable, more or less, and a lot of different providers. And a lot of different risk around that. So Link distinct feature is about providing a diverse route to what is existing at this moment, and a shorter route to what is existing. In fact, which we say is latency. The latency of the Link cable is divided by 2 compared to the existing route that we have at this moment. These 2 things, latency combined with diversity, are the 2 distinct pillars of the Link cable.
Thank you very much, Philippe. I would like to make a question to Norman. Norman, Medusa cable will interconnect the Mediterranean 5 to 5. And of course, maybe Turkey as well. Can we hope for it to land in CINCH, and why CINCH?
Okay, the first one is, as you said, Medusa is a Med cable. It connects the northern and southern coasts of the Mediterranean sea, but also let's try to extend a little bit the concept of the Med, and we will take it a little bit to the Atlantic, including Portugal in it. So in Portugal, we have planned 2 landings. One is in Carcavelos, in Lisbon, and the second one is here in Sines. Okay, why Lisbon? Lisbon mainly, or why Portugal? Mainly for tourism. First one, because it's a crossroad for all the sub-Saharan cable systems, I mean, plus Latin American with Ela-Link, okay? But the main connectivity for sub-Saharan Africa happens in Portugal, so this attracts quite a lot of activities, as we have seen with operators and data centers. And the second one, because in Africa, 45% of the traffic is generated in 5 countries in Northern Africa, of the whole continent. We are connecting this area, and what we're doing is that we are bringing this potential market to Portugal. And in this case of landing in Sines, it gives the possibility for the Sines ecosystems of data center to have an access not only to the sub-Saharan market, not only to the South American market, if not also to the whole African, I would say, continent, or the majority of the whole African continent. Also, we will interconnect Marseille with Sines. We will interconnect Barcelona with Sines. We will interconnect South Sicily, because we land in Sicily. So let's say that Sines will be able to play a role in the Mediterranean Sea, not only on the South American sub-Saharan. If not, we will help Sines to extend the scope of market where they can achieve.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Very good news for Sines. And I would like also ask to Alberto Passos from IP Telecom. What can you tell about the cam ring?
Hi. First of all, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for being here with you. Concerning the project of the cam ring, which has been issued or has been granted to IP Telecom last September 2020, we have been doing a lot of work, and we have now presented some scenarios for the government to take a decision of what will be the final configuration of the arrangement of the cable. So as we speak, the project is now under the Ministry, or the Secretary of State of the Ministry of the Infrastructures and the Habitation of Portugal. And due to the present situation, we believe that in the next 2-3 months we'll have some news about the project, how it will go. Concerning Sines, and the reason why we are here, of course, is not only because we have a strong optical fiber backbone that supports Sines and reach Sines, and I will speak a little bit later about the projects we have to enhance and to reinforce the capacity that we have already installed here. And there are some good news on that chapter. And also, Sines is one of the possible landing places that is on that study, of course. And it has been considered, duly represented on the studies that we have made. And let's hope that we have a decision on the next 2-3 months, taking in consideration that we are going to have general elections this 30th of January. And the decision will be, of course, taken by the new government. No matter who political force will win, it will be the new government that will take that step to push the project and to decide how it will be. But I'm sure, or I hope, that it will be a reality in the next 2 years, and we'll have the cam ring for sure.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to ask to Enrique Banfi from ASN. How does ASN, the current world trends of subsea cables market, and which routes you believe that will have experience of most growth?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. It's quite interesting. In fact, We have always seen the market, the submarine cable system market, as a worldwide market, in fact. There are a couple of new facts that have been I would say, affected the market in the last few years, in fact. There is a strong presence now of the OTTs, what we call OTTs, that are in fact taking a major, I would say, share in the route, which are the traditional route where most of the traffic is set for. It means the transatlantic, US-Europe, the Trans-Pacific, that is in fact China, Southeast Asia to Europe, the APAC region, and as well the Southeast Asia to Europe, in fact. So it's a sort of triangle on the earth, if you can see it, if you can imagine it. Now, this development has led to development of many, I would say, regional routes that are now being planned for extend the connectivity. In fact, you can imagine these big pipes crossing the ocean need to carry capacity everywhere, and Europe is quite an interesting market. All of us, mostly, I think all of us are European here, so we are interested in the development of the basically European market. I would like also to say that part of the major axis, you have Filipe here that has been experienced, in fact, has been the pioneer on this new route, Brazil to Europe, South America to Europe. That is, in fact, is definitely a market like other alternative route that can complement the major axis of transmission. We can think, for example, Africa to South America, South Africa to Southeast Asia, and so on. On the other side, there has been, from the, I would say, marketing point of view, from the ownership point of view, we see a reduction of investment from the traditional carriers. What we call traditional carriers are the incumbents that were taking the lion's share in most of these initiatives, especially in the US and in Europe as well. We see only few key players, but there has given the space, in fact the floor, has opened the floor to private investors, service companies, data center owners that we think will definitely drive the request for new project in the next few years. So I would say that the growth, if you look at the telegeography or other, I would say, consultancy company, and what we can see, looking also the market for the upgrade, because you need the capacity to upgrade progressively of the system. I think is a balanced growth, in fact, is a balanced growth that does not happen at the same time. So maybe there is a part, there are investments that are coming to the market, maybe not exactly at the same time, but it is also good to balance the manufacturing resources. Basically, we can see Atlantic Pacific growing at around a growth of 30-40% per year, if not more. So it is a clear strategic, I think it's a strategic industry for, I would say, the worldwide economy, not only for the telecommunication. As everybody has experienced in this pandemic, in this year of pandemic, we couldn't have worked without a strong and robust network that is now based on submarine system, in fact.
Okay, Enrico, thank you very much for your words. So I would like ask to Olivier from CapDC. CapDC recently completed due diligence in Sines for data centers. And what is, in your candid appraisal, the advantages and the disadvantages of Sines?
Okay, thanks, Gonzalo. So as an introduction, CapDC is an engineering company acting in South Europe and Africa. We have delivered 1,500 data center building. So we had the pleasure to have a look on Sines, and I would say there was a lot of good things on this area. First of all, as my panelist colleagues highlight, this is connected and more connected, first of all. I would say it is an industrial area. So that's to say that you have plenty of space, quite cheap, with not a lot of building constraints. So to say you can, in terms of building height, in terms of noise impact, things like that. All in all, let's say that it is a data center friendly area. We can also say that there is not a lot of natural risk. During this study, we highlighted something which will certainly not be very important, but for instance, apart maybe from forest fire, which is something very sensitive for our American customers. But I think that where Stan Campus is located, the risk is very, very low. Energy, for sure, definitely. So you manage to book classic power thanks to REN, and so this is something very impressive because you are dealing with a 500 megawatt. Just have in mind that today in Madrid there is 70 megawatt data center installed, and if we consider what has been booked in energy, what is financed, you will reach 200 megawatt in 2 years, no more. And now in Madrid, it is impossible to book any additional power before 2025. So regarding energy, just that is impressive. And on top of that, you have the capabilities here in Sines to get advantage of green energy, because you will have dual source as every data center, and the other source could come from green energy. So Sines is a very well place for solar energy. I think it's the best place in Portugal, apart maybe from Faro. You have a very huge productivity, 4.5 kilowatt-hour average per year per square meter, so it's very good. You also benefit from the proximity of the sea with the cold water for cooling. So, you know, in the past, interconnection, connectivity was the primary and the only parameter. Now, energy is coming to be half-half, and maybe in the future, energy will be the primary parameter for data centers. So we are very good in that. And last but not least, I would like to highlight the fact that we feel, and this event is a clear demonstration, that the government is pushing. It's not very technical what I say, but you know I'm dealing with a lot of projects. And for instance, I won't say who exactly, but in France, there is 2 main projects that has been for one delayed, for the other one given up by the colocation companies that intended to build the data center, just because they felt a not very positive welcome from the city or the community. So I would say you have a lot of assets. Regarding your weakness, I wouldn't say weakness. I think you still have work to do. So I don't know how to say that. Milestone to achieve, a battle to win. 2 battles, I think. First one is regarding Iberia, because you have to be compared to Madrid. When I say you, it's Lisbon plus Sines. Yeah. And this is the first battle. Definitely you are all gateway to the Southwest Europe from South America, Africa, and so on. Still, I think to work on that. Regarding the fact that your best opportunity is that now it is blocked in Madrid. We receive a lot of requests in Madrid for new incomers that are looking for power. And the answer that we can give them, not us, but working with Iberdrola, is okay in 2026. So this is a huge asset for you. And the second battle for me will be with Lisbon, because I think you are 80 kilometers far away between Lisbon and Sines. That's too long to belong to the same hub. That's too close to allow two hubs. So this is internal to Portugal, so I will let you discuss, but I think this is a question mark today. Lisbon benefits from the reputation. The city is by far more famous as a main European city. There is the legacy. Some investment were already done in Lisbon. So this is also something I would say to clarify. So I don't know if it is weakness, it is more challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So I would like to hear someone who already decided to settle in Sines. So Afonso, over half a year on the public announcement of Start Campus, how it is coming along, and can you tell me why Start Campus chose Sines for the 595 megawatts data center? We are not hear you.
Sorry, I thought the Reggie would unmute me.
Okay.
Hi guys. First of all, Happy New Year to all, and thank you for this invitation. I think my colleague panelists have already highlighted some of the key aspects that we found in Sines. The first one is, of course, scale, and thank you, Olivier, for the work that you have done. It's also useful to evangelize people around the Sines offer value. But you have the connectivity, which is growing, and LLink and Medusa and IP Telecom are doing amazing work to improve the connectivity around. But we do believe that others will come as the ecosystem gets established. As you pointed out, it's the proximity to the sea allows us to deliver one of the most efficient campuses in Europe. The Atlantic is a very good cold source, and finally the power. And I cannot stress how the power is so important, as Olivier just mentioned. We managed to secure more than 500 megawatts of power to be delivered to the campus, and given the government support and both at the national and the regional level, we are going to be able to deliver power to our campus, which all other European locations can only aspire to in terms of cost and in terms of being green. We can be much more competitive than any of those locations. And to Olivier's point, when we compare ourselves with Madrid, yes, there's a race going on. We do have the scale to cater to those who can't find a home in Madrid, but the running cost of running it from Sines versus other locations on the utilities, it's incredible. And I'll add another layer which Olivier did not mention, but it's critical for everyone who thinks about data centers and cloud computing, which is sustainability. You cannot be serious on sustainability if you're thinking that your data centers are going to be competing with urban resources. And Sines having the DNA of an industrial zone, which can very quickly adapt to the new digital economy, offers also the path towards sustainability.
Okay, Afonso. Sorry.
Yeah, in terms of news, yes, it's been quite a ride since we announced in April. We've been working tirelessly with all public authorities, and we submitted already all the projects for licensing purposes, and we should receive news anytime soon. The power is secured, the land is secured, the solar expansion is being developed, the solar that will feed the data center is being developed as we speak. So Despite not giving a lot of news on how the project is going, the project is going on extremely fast paced, and on all comparing with every single other geography in Europe, it's lightning speed pace, and we'll be able to deliver our first building hopefully on Q1 2023.
Okay, Afonso. I would like to return to Filipe. Filipe, we saw that the new branching unit to Morocco incoming, and I would like to know what other build-up can we expect, and we also like to know how do you see Cinch Tech in 10 years from now?
So two very different questions. So
yes.
I think the first one, I'll tackle the current development of ELALink. A cable is just not about connecting. This cable is just not about connecting Europe to Latin America, though it's the core of its financial model and strategy. We do have a significant number of branching units. And I think this allows a lot of remote islands or countries to be connected to the rest of the world, okay, and connect to the internet economies. That's very key, and that's not only key for them. That's also very key for ELALink in terms of financial impact for us. So I'd like to mention that we already connected to Madeira and to Cape Verde. Okay, these people already enjoy connectivity to Europe at this very moment. We have not announced this, but it's easy to find on public information. We have a ship heading to Morocco at this moment to lay a branch to Casablanca for Morocco, and we do hope to get the connectivity to Mauritania in the very near future. But that's still something we're working on it at this very moment. So that makes this cable with a lot of branches. At this moment. We still have work ongoing to connect to Canary Islands, and that's basically takes care of all the branching units that we add in the European/Northern Africa part of the cable. As for Brazil, there's still some big development work on our side. We are aiming to extend the cable 4,000 kilometers down to Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. Obviously, given the size, the magnitude of this extension, is not something easy to do. We have to gather a lot of different fundings. We're working hard to do that. I will not give any dates on where we will be able to do that, but that's something we do. How can I say? We do plan for the next years. That takes care of the ELALink cable as it is at this moment. Sometimes people ask me whether there are any plans ongoing to extend ELALink to other geographies. It's not the right moment at this moment. We have a cable, we have to make it successful. We're not there yet. Almost, but we're not there yet. So we concentrate on what we have at this moment and make sure we make take the best out of what we have before moving to something else. Let's not rush. We have a lot to do already. The second thing is about Cines Tech. Well, if I englobe Cines Tech and Start Campus, all this ecosystem that we're trying to build, and I think, Afonso, you said something. There is more to come, and there is more to come for Start Campus. There is more to come for Cines Tech. There will certainly be more new cables, I'm sure of it. And we had this discussion with Afonso some time ago, so I need to pitch that. We, together with Alfonso, think that Cines has the potential to become the new Ashburn. Ashburn is a little city on the northern, on the east coast of of North America or the US. It was crop fields back 20 years ago. It's now full of data centers. I think the count is around 100. That's major. And CNES has all it takes. Of course, there is a lot to do. We cannot hide behind the dream. Okay, the dream is a vision. There is a lot to do. There is a lot to get there. But there is land. It's affordable. There is a lot of power. There is a proximity with the sea. Okay, and there is a place which is 6,000 kilometers away from North America, Ashburn or Miami, 6,000 kilometers away from Fortaleza, which is a major data center and submarine network, and collects all the traffic coming from Africa. So it's a great place. It just needs time, but it will develop, and I'm sure of it. We have Start Campus, and they're taking the lead on the data center. They're making huge commitment, huge effort, huge money being put on the cable, and there are going to be more people coming, I'm sure of it.
Okay, thank you. Good vision. Norman, for you, more or less the same question. What's your vision for CLS and data centers ecosystem development here in Sines?
Well, we are more specialized, I would say, from the side of the connectivity.
Yes, of course.
Well, in Medusa, we are changing a little bit the model of connectivity, because instead of selling capacity or providing capacity to our customers, we are more an infrastructure operator, in the same way that the infra world is working. So instead of us providing capacity on a submarine cable, what we're providing is fiber pairs to the different operators. And in this market, we have multiple people. Before, we were used to the operators to be present and to be the one leading the connectivities. Then we find the content providers also to be entering. And we have seen that in submarine cables also the connectivity to the data centers is playing a vital role in some of the cables that I believe that some of the cables crossing the Pacific, they are already doing that with major data centers in the shareholder. So in the case of Medusa, again, what we do is that we respond to this model of the increase of capacity of data centers, increase of different players, and in this case, it's not that we provide, in this case, we are a 24 fiber pair cable, so what we are able is to provide a fiber pair, or more than one fiber pair, to each one of the different players, so they can develop the model, and they can extend that model to the data center, and they can complement the needs in the data center in the same way. Okay, so we think that this is a change of concept, and that's why we implemented the infrastructure model.
Okay. Okay, and Alberto, what are the expected improvements when you have to do the transition for the old to the new camering? What is expected from your side?
Okay, basically the technology as it is today, there will be a huge improvement over the capacities that today are available between Portugal mainland and the Azores and the Madeira Island. Our optical fibers in our cable, we expect to have capacity in the range of 24 terabytes to 30 terabytes. It depends how the telecommunications technology will evolve in the next 1-2 years, but 24 to 30 is perfectly, it's okay, and it's more feasible, and which is much more than what exists today. And that will be, we hope, connection and transmission capacity for the next 20 or 30 years, because it will be a huge improvement. At the same time, we are, and concerning the network that we have here in Sines, we are thinking about, we are planning and well ahead to have, we have already one cable here, one cable connecting Lisbon and connecting the south. So Sines is connected to the south and to the north. We'll have, in a relatively short term, a second cable. Then we have, in the next 2 years, planned to have a third cable. and in the next maybe 10 years, I don't know, a force cable. But the force cable is not so, it's still a little bit fuzzy, but the second cable, it should be ready in 1 year from now, and the third cable in 2 years. We don't expect more than that. And that will be a very good arrangement in terms of physical optical fiber network, because we can have 3 different routes to reach Sines. And of course, with all the technology associated, so we can still do the same in terms of terabytes in each of these optical cables. And we are also finishing right now, and with already one customer waiting for the connection, our newest interconnection to Spain via Guadiana bridge, which is relevant for the geographic position that Sines has, because we can now connect the Sines from here to the south, Algarve, and then to Guadiana, which is a route to the south of the Iberian Peninsula, because we at IP Telecom, of course, are the providers in Portugal, because we are not the only one. We have already 3 connections to Spain, all via land cables, optical buried cables, which are in the north, in the middle of the country, at Badajoz, Elvas. And all of them are running the traffic right now from our customers. So that, if I can answer your question, I think that we have a very good future perspectives on about how Sines will be connected and what will be available in Sines, either with us, Ela-Link, Medusa. So I think Sines is in a great path and a great position, together with the project from Start Campos. Well, I believe that we have a bright future, if we can say so, about Sines and the connectivity, all these ecosystems. In our part, in terms of either the CAM and in terms of physical connection, we will be ready to improve our connections to Sines.
Okay, thank you. And Enrico, about the ASN, are you considering developing some activities here in Sines? And I would like also hear from you about the smart cables and that can, for example, detect environmental and systemic detection, and R&D using subsea cables. Can you tell us something about this?
Okay. There are two different questions. In fact, again, I think that today we have a dedicated center, R&D manufacturing plant that are centralized in a few locations. Again, the construction of submarine cable is really focalized and to be focused on specific activities. It is a sort of heavy industry, the cable one, so we need to have, let's say, a sort of industrial environment that grant, in fact, production for the worldwide market. So we have one factory for submarine cable that is serving the worldwide market, that is not a flat one, that means need to cope with up and down to the market. Okay, so now growing with the expectation of the growing market, we have done quite a good investment in electronics and cable itself, not to mention cable ship. So today, I think similarly to what I think Filipe said for the expansion of other cable activity, we definitely look at the development that can happen in Sines and other location. We are mostly supplier of cable that are going to the water. So a local manufacturing presence today is not on the point. However, we have already some services that in fact we provide with some unit and service companies in Portugal. Not only the supply, we need also to take care of permitting, take care of regulation and so on. So I think we will see with the involvement of the center over there, in fact. I believe that was the answer. I think I've tried to put the two at the same time. So probably with the services, for the service activity, we will see what can be done. Relocating the manufacturing, we need to see, in fact, is a more an industrial activity that need to be, in fact, optimized on a worldwide market, I would say. On the smart cable, that was the second question, we have a plan. In fact, we are defining with several institutions. So we think that in the future, clearly the submarine cable will mainly still transport traffic and data. However, there is, as you know, a lot of interest. I think is a good initiative what is being planned for the Camring, and now we are in the phases of definition of the need of the market. In fact, we have a couple of initiatives going on, more than the one in Portugal. And the intention here is, in fact, to get to a solution that is industrialized, because what happens in the laboratories in the R&D is good. We have a lot of investment in the R&D as well, but then we need to provide a solution that is industrial, that can be replicated, that can be put below the water and stay there for 25 years or more and work for 25 years. So there is still a gap. We are working on it, a gap from the R&D and the industrialization. And when we have discussed with Medusa and Link as well, they are quite aware of it. So I think it will come, and we will be in a position to offer what is the demand of the customer. But again, we need to have a fully developed product that is fully qualified before we can install it. Okay. It's coming, and I think a Camring will be you will see on the Camring effect. So we'll be more than happy to help Camring on this.
It's a challenge. Okay, Olivier, what will you first work on if you are in charge to improving and developing Science Tech Innovation and Data Center Hub in order to develop the global competitiveness?
Okay, thank you for the question. It's not a very comfortable question because, first of all, I want to congratulate you what you are doing for a couple of years, as well as Philippe, Alfonso, and so on. I'm not sure I would have done better, honestly. So maybe surprisingly, coming from an engineering company, my answer will be more focusing on marketing, on three sides. First one, it is a basic sentence, but a hub is an interconnection of several data centers. Not one data center, not two data centers, several data centers. And what you see in the business, in the market, is that data center calls data center. So the first one is very difficult, the second one less difficult, the third one, and so on and so on. And after that, you do not have to do anything. Everybody is booming and willing to go there. That's exactly what is happening today in Alcobendas, for instance, which is the area in Madrid. Everybody wants to go in Alcobendas. No, but you have a plot with some energy, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. No, I want to go in Alcobendas. So, first of all, you have to market that you become a hub. And I think that Start Campus is it's a very good brand because it's campus. It's not only one data center, it's a campus, a meta-colocation company. I don't know how you call that, but the most important is to have 2, 3, 4 e-commerce inside Start Campus as soon as possible. Especially because you know that big hyperscalers like to have 2 or 3 contracts. When they come in Paris, in Madrid, in Milano, they are not putting all their assets in the same colocation companies. They like to be in triangle and to have generally 3 contracts for that. So that's the first marketing effort. Second one is energy. As we said, you have a terrific asset, which is energy. I would like to say that we observe also in some countries some actors in data center, smaller maybe, that put all the effort on energy. So as I say, they built business model focused only on energy, green energy and so on, even if they are providing a very poor latency performance. So you have to promote that. If I were in the shoes, I would hire a sales rep based in Madrid to highlight the fact that come in scenes, we have plenty of energy. And the last one is what I think Filipe said. I don't know if you know the book of Emmanuel Tranos, which is not a Spanish, Tranos, but it's a UK researcher that has been work 6-7 years ago and read a book which is the Geography of Internet. So he gathered a lot of data in Europe with, I think, 60 cities of Europe to try and figure out who was the next hub. So very impressive, a lot of data. And by the way, he makes some correlations between air traffic hub and data hub. For instance, Frankfurt, if I take a basic ID, Frankfurt is the main air traffic hub in Europe and is the number 2 in data hub. So there is some correlation. And he highlighted something strange for Iberia, that's to say for Lisbon and Madrid, that was that there is a disconnection between the airport and the current hub. The airport are definitely the best of breed for traffic coming from South America. When you go to Madrid, Baraja, you see only Latin American people. But the same isn't true for African people. You see very few African people. And the main hub today in Europe are London for English-speaking countries and Paris for French-speaking countries. I think this is a weakness because for sure for data hub, you have a huge challenge due to your geographical footprint to get data from Africa. So if I was in your shoes also, I would put a lot of marketing to promote Cinch in West Africa. That to say, once again, I would hire a new sales rep, 2 sales reps, and one based in Dakar to just explain that you have a beautiful place which would be your counterpart in Europe, which is called Cinch. That was my advice. So, sorry, I'm an engineering company, but
Africa here beside me.
That was marketing. Sorry for that.
Okay, Olivier, but thank you very much. Afonso, you recently launched a white paper called Green Giants, the Heart of Sustainability European Data Ecosystem. What can you tell about us about this?
Yeah, of course. So, by the way, the paper is public, so anyone who can access to it through our website. We're going to launch 2 additional papers. Like Olivier said, marketing is key. The 2 additional papers, one which is going to be launched hopefully until the end of this week, which is Portuguese connectivity and how Cinch fares on the global data connectivity, and the third one is about data privacy and how Portugal fares against other geographies. So those 3 papers will be very soon available to everyone. But the Green Giant, it's already there. And the Green Giant thesis is very simple. This paper has been written by Michael Liebrecht. I'm not sure if, for those who don't know him, he was the founder of Bloomberg New Energy Finance, one of the most relevant sustainability think tanks and services in the globe. And the thesis of the Green Giants it's quite simple to follow. Data center construction, as it's being done in Europe currently, it's not sustainable. Not only from a network management perspective, but from a pure planet sustainability level. Because right now, and alluding to what Olivier was saying before, a lot of the data center development is centered on the FLAP-D countries, which is locations, which is Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris, and Dublin. And these data centers, with the current needs for data processing, they compete against urban space. So those 200 megawatts that Olivia was mentioning in Madrid, those are competing with spaces which could be used for offices, for retail, or even residential. And for you to understand how insane that is, take a small data center, well, smallish, at least for Star Campus purposes, a 5 megawatt data center. This is illustrative. Of course, with each engineer will give you a different answer, but it will be in the same ballpark. But a 5 megawatt data center consumes as much power as 150 families would. So 150,000 households would consume the same amount of power. It occupies the same space as 160 households. And given current technology, it consumes as much water as 5,000 families. So it doesn't make sense for it to be consuming and being used urban space. So anyone who has a say on sustainability and on the digital ecosystem needs to start thinking how the next generation of digital services needs to be provided. And when you start looking on how we consume digital services and digital workloads, you can actually start splitting. You don't need to have everything being performed on urban centers. You can actually start splitting. You can have low latency requirements being processed locally, and you have higher latency workloads being processed more remotely, where CINES can play a pivotal role across entire Europe. And by splitting those workloads and by being adamant about the sustainability of how these two pieces should work together, that's how you can greenify the entire digital industry. The FLAPD countries, if you've been following the news, have been blocking also new data centers exactly because of that, because they consume too much resources. And Frankfurt has just blocked Facebook 200 megawatt development, given that that there's no national strategy around data centers. So this is the natural move. If you start taking the large scale data centers, the ones who are intensive and resources, and moving away from urban centers, you're actually playing your part in sustainability. It's not that different from how countries have developed their own standard industries. You moved away your industries, which were intensive on resources, away from the big urban centers. So the large scale data centers should be tackled similar to these, where the resources are available, where you don't compete with urban resources, where you can benefit from green energy and innovative solutions to increase efficiency of the data centers, and where you can actually play a broader part into the overall European ecosystem.
Okay, thank you very much, Afonso. So I think we are on time. I would like to say thanks to all the speakers. New announcements and very interesting insights were given by you. And I'd like to say thanks, and I think we can proceed with our conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Bye.